Hey everyone, Carrie Beck here with How to Homeschool My Child, and I am thrilled to be here at the summit. Let me tell you, I think Michelle is doing a great job helping teens. Some of the scariest years of homeschooling is with our teens because they're so close to launching to adulthood that we're not really sure if we're doing what we need to do. So that is what I'm excited to talk to you about. We're going to be talking about three steps that you can use to to raise your kids really to be leaders and they have critical thinking skills to be able to think on their own and be able to make wise decisions. So if you are interested in your kids actually being able to think in any situation in college, in a job, wherever, this is where you need to be. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to do that. And if you want your children to be a leader instead of follow the crowd, this is definitely where you need to be. Before I move on, some of you know me, some of you don't. I do want to introduce my family. This is about a year old. I am actually at my daughter's house for the week because we have grandkids while I'm recording it. Grandkids preschool. I just went to their little sing-along program, and then we've got gymnastics and then a birthday party. So it's a busy week. But I am still recording this because this is so important that I think you need to get this information. So this is my family. This is Ashley. She's married to Jesse. She's my oldest. And they have Elizabeth and Faith. And Faith is now 9. Elizabeth is 7. And then we have Gentry. That's whose house I'm in right here. She's married to Andrew. Just to move that closer. They have Deacon and Landry, and Deacon just cracked us up through the sing along because he would just point to everyone like, I love you, Daddy. And then in the middle, where is it? Right here, there's my son. That is Hunter. He is the baby of the family. Plus, we have the really head of the family, grandpa and grandma. These are my parents as well. We were all together for a birthday party about a year ago. I like to share that so you sort of have a face to our family because I am going to share some stories as well. I think it's really important that you listen to someone that's gone before you. I am not the mother of a second grader telling you how to do high school. I am not the mother of a sixth grader who taught high school in the public schools or a private school telling you how to homeschool high school. I have brought 3 kids through this. All right. And these are some of the things that we did with our kids as well. So, for 3 steps to being able to raise your kids to lead, to take ownership in their education and in their life. And these will also lead to critical thinking skills so they can make wise decisions. Number 1 is Mondays. You see, when they were in 9th grade, they had to start writing their own lesson plans, planning their week out. The first thing, and when during that 9th grade year, I sat down with each one of them because up until then, I gave them a chart. Here's what you do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, mom is not going to be around for the rest of their lives. They need to learn how to plan and organize their lives. And so this wasn't just a school skill, this was a life skill. In fact, all my kids have said, thank you for the study skills you gave us. Thank you for the planning and time management skills that you gave us, because we continue to use that today as adults. And so I think that's really important. So how did that work? I would sit down with them and we would have already talked about the year, what our subjects were. And then we would just go through, okay, in math, what are we going to cover each day? In reading or literature or humanities or history or art. And it wasn't that we did every subject, but during that 9th grade year, we were working together. After that, they pretty much planned their lessons. Now, I still checked in, I still touched base with them, but I wanted them to start working independently. And what do we do a lot of times? We do not cut those apron strings. We want to make sure they are doing what we tell them to do. And when we do that, we are raising a follower, because all they do is follow and they just do whatever mom tells them or whatever their teacher tells them or whatever their employer tells them when they grow up. They really can't plan themselves. They can't think for themselves because they haven't been given the opportunity. So I think it's really important that you do this. Now, I will tell you, after about a semester, all my kids were able to plan this. And you may be going, okay, well, that's really good, but Did you choose all those subject areas? No. Step number two is my kids made choices about what they studied. You know, Ashley got a college degree in a year and a half, 2 years, and then came back to Texas with us and got a teaching certificate and worked and taught at-risk kids for a while. Gentry knew she wanted to go to Texas A&M. So she based her high school on that. Ashley did not finish Algebra 2. I'm telling you this so you can have some freedom in your life. She did not finish Algebra 2, and that's okay. But she went a different route. And then Gentry knew she needed these things. So she was making sure she took the right subjects and studied the right things. Hunter, actually, I will tell you, we homeschooled in the beginning, but he finished out his high school at a private Christian school. So he had to do what they were doing, but he also wanted to go to Texas A&M. Gentry actually went to a junior college for a year and a half, local, and then moved to Texas A&M. Hunter went all 4 years. All three of them did different routes when it came to college. I don't even think college is completely necessary. I do think it's a security. I think it's a thing that people maybe feel like, oh, they get out and they're like, I didn't go to college and all my friends did. That may be an issue and that may be a reason. But if your kids are going to college, give them a reason. The universities are not, they have dumbed them down too. It's mostly just information. And you may go, yeah, but he's got a master's in, I don't know, biology or pre-med or engineering or business. That's true. So they can solve a lot of these problems and they have to use that specific information. And for some people, like an engineer, like pre-med, like maybe even an accountant or a lawyer, you need these foundations to go to college, but not everyone does. So number one is actually Mondays. Number two is letting your kids choose. And here's how it worked for our family. You do whatever works best for your family. We had one class in high school homeschooling that was required. That one class was a humanities class. There were 2 lectures a week. It was from a biblical perspective. So we were always putting on the lens of scripture for whatever we were studying because we wanted to filter everything through the scripture. So that was what we did. That was one thing. After that, they made choices. That humanities class did not include math. You'll notice Ashley did not finish Algebra 2. Gentry could not stand math, but she finished Algebra 2. I don't think that she went any further. And actually in college, tutored and helped some of her college friends in math. Even though she didn't like it, she understood it. Hunter, on the other hand, I think went all the way to calculus. But both the girls could make choices. Both of the girls wanted to take an astronomy class. And so we found a local online astronomy class. The weekly classes were online. Then they could go out of town about 20 minutes and at nighttime and actually experience the skies, the stars. And so it was a real life experience. There was a writing class. I don't know that both of them took it, but there were different things that we allowed them to take that went along with science because humanities, literature, history, sociology, arts, music, theology. That was about it. And that didn't mean about that. It was a rigorous study, and it covered things that most high schools are never going to cover. It covered things that were important to us. We wanted our kids to have a framework of history based on the church and on the Bible. After that, it was really up to them. Ashley took a watercolor class one time. So they were involved in different sports. Hunter and Gentry did sports all 4 years. Ashley did sports more in junior high, but took piano lessons. So it was a variety and it was choices that they made. Why? What was the reason? Because we wanted our kids to take ownership and leadership in their education. We wanted them to begin while they were at home, and if things didn't work out, we could walk alongside them so that when they got out, they understood how to lead themselves, how to lead others, how to take ownership in what they were doing. It wasn't just listening to someone else. We were raising leaders, not followers. So first are Mondays. Second are kids' choices. And then number three was reading journals. What do you mean reading journals? This is how we really tied together critical thinking. Now, I will say that humanities class was very rigorous and had a lot of thinking, and we tied these reading journals into that humanities class. Oh, and by the way, we read aloud every single morning all the way till the end of high school. We never quit reading aloud to our children. So let's talk about those reading journals. Step number 3. Oh, I wish I had mine. At home, I still have mine. What we would do is at the beginning of the year, I would go and buy them a reading journal. They could pick it out. And if it were just this big, that was how big, that's how one page of reading journal every single day. So they would read independently and then they would write about whatever they read. It wasn't just a retelling, a narration. We wanted to go beyond a retelling or narration. We wanted them to write about the hows, the whys, the comparisons, the contrast, your opinion about something in the story. Why did this person do this? Is this along the lines of the Bible, the way these people are treating each other, or the way that characters act in a novel that we were reading? And so we wanted them to move beyond that. So they had to write one page every week. I mean, not every week, one page every day. Every day they read independently and wrote one page. And then I would check it. If I felt like they were just doing a retelling, I would read some of my reading journals. You see, I started this process before I ever told my kids. And if you're thinking, oh, this is a good thing, I'm going to make my kids do it, you need to do it. And you're listening to this probably at the beginning of the summer. Take the summer and read every day and write one page, and you experience how it is. Start with a kid's book, kids classic, but then move to an adult classic so you understand what it's like to try to think through an adult classic on your reading level and then write about it, just like a child is going to do that, a teenager. Now, I will tell you, one of my favorite books was the Iliad. I couldn't believe when we got that book, it was this thick. And I was like, oh my goodness, seriously? But I thought, if I'm going to ask my high school girls to read this and write about it every day, I better be able to do that too. I mean, I should have that ability. It doesn't take an English degree to be able to do this. And we all enjoyed that book. There was another book, it was written in the Middle Ages, and I can't think of the title of it, but Ashley just loved it. I think she was reading that one on her own. She's like, this is a chick flick for guys because there was love and romance. There were knights in shining armor, and there was blood and gore and battles. It was all wrapped up into one. And I will put whatever the name of that is on the handout that you should be using as well. So they had the chance every day to start using their little brain. And if they couldn't, and I would read them some examples, they were still struggling, then I might give them writing prompts. Like let's take Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth and Jane. How are Elizabeth and Jane similar in this situation? How are they different? Write one page in your journal. Or Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. Compare and contrast those two. Are they both proud? Are they both prejudiced? Why or why not? So you could you would need to take whatever scenes you're reading at the time, but have a little prompt that they can get started with on just retelling, and they're actually having to think about. That's what a reading journal does. It thinks about. And then you can talk about it and see who's been making wise decisions. How does this work? And just see what your kids are coming up with. It is an excellent, excellent way to use a reading journal in any subject, in anything that is valuable to your children and to your family. Now, you are in luck. I have got a 3-step chart for you, and it's completely free. It's in the swag bag, and you're welcome to go grab that at the link that is in the swag bag as well. I'll probably put the link in the handout so you can go grab that. And when you grab it, there is an article right there about how homeschooling high school is not scary. And read through that. It's going to talk a little more about our 3-step process. I've told you about the 2 steps. You need to go get the 3rd step because that really pulls it all together. And then so that will be a help for you. So in raising our kids to be leaders who can think for themselves, first we have Mondays. Let them start planning on their own. 2nd step, Let your kids choose. Yes, let them choose because if they choose, they're going to be more interested. And number three, start using reading journals. All three of those combined can raise your kids to be leaders who can actually think for themselves. Like I said, in the swag bag, there is the three-step chart. Number two, there is a fun quiz. What's missing in your homeschool? Take that and go see what's missing in your homeschool. It's completely free. Number three, I do have a book that might be helpful to you. It's an ebook. And it is called Teach Your Children How to Think with Mentoring. And it goes deeper into this whole idea of critical thinking skills, reading journals, and how you as the parent should be mentoring your children as well. And so there'll be a link wherever you are listening to this, along with a coupon code for you to get that at a discount. And so go and grab that as well. You can read a little bit more about it. Thanks so much for spending time with me. I hope this has been helpful. I would love to connect with you. And if you have any questions, pop them in the Facebook group, in Michelle's Facebook group. And hopefully we can just keep moving forward in helping you homeschool your teens. I'm Kerry Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. We'll talk to you next time.